Welcome, folks. Welcome. Just seeing some last couple of folks join us here, and then we'll get underway. Hope everyone's doing well today. My name is Jackson Friedman. I'm a policy analyst here. One sec. I'm a policy analyst here at the BCNPHA. And thanks for joining us for a little session on I'm New, What Do I Do? Just a brief run through of the BCNPHA, the housing sector, and some of our services. First, I'd like to acknowledge that both myself and BCNPHA's offices are located on the unceded traditional Coast Salish territories of the Squamish, the Tsleil-Waututh, and the Musqueam peoples. And our work takes place throughout the ancestral lands and unceded territories of 198 distinct First Nations in BC. And I'd also like to acknowledge that each of you are coming to this session virtually from ancestral homelands of Indigenous peoples across the province, each with their own unique traditions and history. And I welcome you to say hello in the chat. Let us know where you're coming from and engaging from today. So thanks for joining us. Just about that chat, you're welcome to use it if you have any questions that come up at any time throughout the session. So feel free to toss them in there, and then we'll get to that towards the end of the session. So I'm joined today by a wonderful contingent of BCNPHA staff who you should see up on the screen alongside the screen share there. So I'll just have them introduce themselves, and I'll start with maybe Andreas, if you want to go first.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all. Welcome. My name is Andres Peñalosa. I'm a senior policy analyst at the BCNPHA Housing Association. I'm going to speak for too long here. I'm also based in the unceded territories of this Musqueams, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations, and I'm pretty grateful to be and to join you from this land. Yeah.
I'll take it from here. My name is Arwa Hassan. I'm the marketing and membership manager at BCNPHA. I may have or connected with you with regards to our anything related to membership over the years. And then I also manage all of our marketing initiatives, our publications, our digital online website, emails, things like that. Okay, I'll pass over to Gabriel.
Oh, hello, everyone. My name is Gabriel. I guess I've seen some people here in the webinar that I know, Shannon and Vivian. So some of you might know myself. So I'm a senior asset management coordinator at BCNPHA and also acting as an energy manager. So I'm work for the asset management department. So I'm gonna pass to Mauricio.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mauricio Ruiz, and I am the Senior Partnerships and Sponsorship Officer at BCNPHA. I will be the person that will be connecting with our members to promote the benefits of our member programs for societies and tenants when applicable. Back to you, Jackson.
Thanks so much, Mauricio, and thanks to all of you for introducing yourselves. So I'll just very briefly touch on how the rest of the session will look, and then I'll hand things over to Arwa, who will talk a little bit more about BCNPHA. So we've checked off our introductions. I'll briefly just touch on what our session goals here are in a second. We'll then have Arwa discuss the history of BCNPHA and kind of what we do today. We'll go through kind of each of us represent a different area of our organization. And so we'll go through and talk about kind of what we know the most about and share with you kind of the work that we're doing in each of our departments, kind of how we are membership focused and how we support the members. And then at the end, we'll just leave a little bit of time for if there's any questions and some discussion. So again, if any questions come up throughout that process, throw them right in the chat, and we can, either one of us will respond directly through the chat if it's one that we can do that for, and if not, we'll get to it right at the end. So again, just the overall goals of the session here is we want folks just to become familiar with our services and our programs, kind of what we do. We want to have we want attendees to have identified some next steps. And so if there's any kind of things that you can do that'll help meet your goals that involve us, and hope that you'll reach out and contact us, and that you'll know who to contact to get any of those questions addressed. So I think with that, I'm going to launch a quick poll here and then hand things over to Arwa. So we just are wondering kind of where you're from and who you are. And so you'll see that poll question pop up in just a second here. So that should be up on your screen now. folks maybe 15 or 20 seconds. All right. I'll end that now. It looks like we've got majority of folks are nonprofit housing providers, but we've got some folks from other areas of the sector as well. So great to have everybody here. What I'll do now is just hand things over to Arwa to talk a little bit about BCNPHA and yeah, kind of our history.
Hi again. I apologize. I was distracted by phone calls coming through on my phone and my computer. So BCNPHA started 29 years ago in 1992. It was preceded by our first conference. So this year will be our 30th conference. And after the conference, some organizations came together and decided they wanted an umbrella organizations for housing providers that could support them. So that's when BCNPHA was created. There's about 30 staff members ranging over 4 departments. And we have over 500 members that are housing providers and for-profit commercial groups, government groups, nonprofits that have services. I'll go over more in more detail a little bit later. Through our membership, there's about 70,000 units of long-term affordable housing, and that equates to approximately 33,000 buildings across BC. And just have another poll there for you. Oh, thank you. So we're wanting to know how familiar you are with BCNPHA. What do you know about our services, our programs? Give that a few minutes. Okay, I think we could stop that there. It looks like the majority do not know very little and wanting more information, which is great. This is a great place to be here. Okay, so we'll dive in. Oh, there are the results, yeah. Okay, so we'll go into our next slide, please. Yes. So as I mentioned, there's four departments where we have a department that focuses on research and advocacy, one on our asset management services. Then we've got our education team is under our research and policy, but they focus on all of our online learning events, our Housing U, which is our housing university courses. And the events team is under our programs and partnerships department, and we focus on the rents events that are regional events across the province. They're one-day conferences. We'll go deeper into that a little bit later. And then we've got our Housing Central conference that's once a year. It has been the place to be for housing providers across BC. And go to the next one. In addition to that, our services also include our what were previously called our partner programs. Now we call them our member programs that are split into 3 topics: financial, insurance, and operations. Our financials are anything related to your investments and your day-to-day banking. Insurance, as you can see, our health, the comprehensive, this is your building, volunteer, things like that. And then you've got tenant insurance. And operations are anything, we've tried to find deals that work for anything to alleviate some expense costs for you, so to find you some preferential rates for programs that help you with your day-to-day operations. Mauricio will dive deeper into that in a little bit. So I'll just give you a quick snapshot of our membership. First, we'd like to know if your organization is a member. Okay, so it looks like a few of you are and one is not sure. That's totally fine. We'll go over a little bit what our members look like and what you get as a member. So our membership is divided into two categories. We've got membership fees for nonprofit housing providers, and then we've got membership fees for associate members. Our membership for nonprofit housing providers is split according to how many units you have. So these are the current annual rates that we have. We do know that some of our members do not have actual units, but they may have beds, like if it's a shelter or transition house, if you have multiple bedrooms with a shared kitchen and bed and living area, then we would consider those as beds, and we consider 6 beds to equate to 1 unit. So for those that are not sure if they're members, that's how we would equate, that's how we would calculate your membership fees. On the other side, we've got associate members, which are split into 4 categories. So we've got nonprofits that do not currently have housing. They have secured funding and are currently developing housing. So those fit into the nonprofits developing housing. We've got a nonprofit category for those groups that do not provide housing, are not looking to build housing, but provide services to tenants or others in the housing sector. And then the last 2 are self-explanatory, our commercial, which are for-profit groups, and our government agencies in the last one. And now we wanted to get an idea of where you are from. Okay, so it looks like we're spread out, Vancouver Island or mainland, north, interior, and in another Canadian province or territory. Perfect, from Calgary. Excellent, so we've got a good representation on the line of our membership. And if you can switch to the next slide. So about 48% of our members come from the Lower Mainland, and then we've got equal representation from the island and the interior, and a little bit smaller representation from the north, and then about 4% from outside of BC. Those are usually some of our for-profit groups, but we also have members who are our counterparts, our housing providers from across the Canada, which are our members as well. This is to give you an idea, the majority of our members are within the 1 to 50 unit category. So majority are smaller societies. Their majority are run by, there's a lot run by boards, operational boards. They probably have 1 or no staff members running their housing. The next larger group is the 51 to 250 units. We've got a very small representation in the higher units, but those are also smaller. We have, most of those are also our members. So there's few of them that exist, and they are our members. Okay, just quickly over member benefits. I'm hoping you're all familiar with the benefits that come with your membership. You get discounts to our events and our education sessions. You have access to our member programs, which can save you money or can make you money, depending on which one. And then can also help you with your environmental footprint and grow your networks, because you have access to our member directory. You can connect with like societies across the province. And then, of course, with our services in our asset management department and research, it helps with extending the life of your buildings. We also launched a housing job match, a website for you to post jobs and for job seekers to come and search for jobs within the housing sector. This is limited to our members, so that is also a benefit to you. I've included the link for information for membership info if you'd like, or I'd be happy to answer any more questions if you reach out to me at membership@bcnpha.ca. And yeah, I think it's time to hand over to Mauricio, who will dive deeper into our member programs.
Thank you, Arwa. Hi again, everyone. So partner member programs are another benefit of being a BCNPHA member. So we have 3 different groups of member programs, which goes from financial programs, insurance programs, and building member programs, which is related to the operation of your building. So we're gonna start first with the financial programs. Can you go back 1 slide, please? So the financial programs provide the nonprofit housing opportunities to effectively invest their capital reserves and maximize their operating accounts with better interest rates. So we have the Pooling for Increasing Earnings or PIE program with Coast Capital and Van City, for example. This program provides members with opportunities to increase their earnings by pooling their operating accounts into one large pool with other nonprofit societies. That way, making the society eligible for better interest rates. And the pool size as today is around $400 million. So the larger the total amount of the deposit, the higher the interest rate received on your society's account. Then we have the member program with ENCASA, which is social housing investment. The social housing investment funds are designed to meet your society's needs and interests. So ENCASA can help you to incorporate a sound investment plan by investing in industries and sectors that match your organization values. And then in the future, you can use those reserved for capital projects, and then you can start saving and making money that way. The second group we have, please, next slide, is the insurance programs. So the insurance programs range from group health and dental benefits to property, tenants, and rental income insurance. So the group health insurance is with HUB. So this program provides competitive health, dental, life, and other benefits to employees, and where BCNPHA members can save money on premium rates regardless of the organization's size. The next insurance member program we have is the tenant insurance with Marsh and Intact. So the tenant insurance provides non-profit housing tenants with affordable tenant insurance. The plan starts around $12.50 a month for a basic coverage that includes $15,000 in personal content coverage, and also allows some funds when if a unit is damaged and it needs to be repaired. So there is some funds that the tenant can be placed in a hotel or a different housing situation while the unit is being repaired. The other program we have, this one is with Marsh too, is a comprehensive insurance. So this program offers property and liability insurance for our members with a dedicated claim team located in BC. This program has insured $4 billion in member society assets. So it's has a different component. This program is not so easy to explain in few minutes, but if you have any questions, please, you can send me all your questions to the chat, or I will be sharing my email if you want to reach out to me offline. I'm happy to do that too. And the third group we have is the building programs that is related to your building operations. And we offer programs and services to make society's workload easier and more efficient. For example, we have the BSMAN program, which is the boiler and tank replacement. So societies can lower their costs by creating efficiency in key areas and increase their revenue by saving in energy usage. And also you can get a rebate when you buy through BSMAN. You get a rebate depending on the size of your boiler and depending on the consumption of your boiler, they will provide a rebate to your society. And then we have the building remediation options with CuraFlow and Hightech. This program offers alternatives to repiping to reduce or eliminate leaks and water damage. Societies can avoid cost, time, and disruption of pipe replacement. In some cases, like for example, with CuraFlow, they can do partial repiping. Instead, if you don't have the whole funds for a project to do the whole building, they can go do an assessment or assess a specific area, and they can replace those areas with new pipes and coating, so you don't have to do the whole building. And that way, society can be saving monies and being proactive on replacing the pipes. The other program we have is with Reswell, which is for the sleep products. This is a Canadian manufacturer that offers sleep products for all needs and budgets, and it provides preferential rates for our member societies. So Reswell supplies mattresses, encasements, and pillows to a different number of profit housing providers and care homes, and they deliver anywhere throughout the province. So that's a pretty good advantage with them, that you can take those prices if you are in the north or in a remote location, they will be able to deliver over there. We have programs with Telos. The telecom program is a very popular program. This is one of the programs that benefit directly the tenants of our members. So the telecom programs provides optic TV and high-speed internet to our members, tenants, and employees at a different discount. But for the tenants, the program offers savings up to 40% discount on TV and internet on any package that they decide to contract. Another program that we have with Telos, this is a new program that we're about to launch in the next couple of months. It's called the Living Well Companion. This program supports tenants to safely age in place. And this is a medical alert device that has a 24/7 personal emergency response service that offers peace of mind for seniors and their loved ones. And Living Well Companion is Canada's most affordable personal emergency response service that can provide life-saving support. And the other program we have is the cleaning and janitorial products with Planet Clean. This program offers the most advanced and effective cleaning, sanitation, and infection control products available, and offers to our members 15% discount with some exclusions applied, including freight, as well as training on cleaning methods. So if, for example, your society is consuming, let's say, $10,000 a year on cleaning products, you're gonna be saving like $1,500. And that's another way to see how you can save money by being a member, depending on the size of your organization. If you're paying, let's say, $700 for your membership and you're saving $1,500 just in that program, you're already saving extra money on top of being a member of BCNPHA. The other program we have is the laundry services with Coinomatic. With these programs, our members are able to access preferential revenue arrangements and rebates for the first 6 months of a new or renewed laundry services contract. All equipments are available for purchase or full service lease basis with Coinomatic. The other program we have, I'm going to speak briefly about this program because Gabriel is going to speak more in depth about our Cody program. This is a software that is a property management software and accounting. It provides accounting solutions, and its capabilities includes generating work orders, bill payment, and budgeting. And this program is being extremely popular right now, and pretty sure Gabriel can speak about that later on. The other program we have is Water Protect. This is a program that is for water damage, to detect water damage or leaks. It's a proactive protection against water damage and reduces extensive water damage caused by a leak, and helps to protect properties in case of an emergency or disaster. And other benefit of this program is that you're not going to be able to make a lot of claims. That doesn't mean that your insurance is not going to go up, but in theory, you're going to be able to keep your premiums stable. These are all the programs that we offer at the moment. I will share the link to the member program section in the chat box right now, so you can check all the programs. And I also want to include the email where if you have any questions, you can please reach out to me, and I'll be happy to answer all the questions. So now I'm going to pass it on to Gabriel.
Thanks, Mauricio. So just before we start talking about the services that the asset management department offers, we just would like to launch a poll, a quick one. So next slide, please. So it's about which of the following services have your organization made use of. So you have the building condition assessments, capital planning, energy audits, and the energy efficiency retrofit coaching, energy benchmarking. They are core software, or if you have never used any service from our department, just select the last option there. Okay, since some people didn't answer, but some people answered that they never used our service before. So I'm going to explain a little bit about the service that we offer here at the asset management department. So the following services are offered by us, which are composed by the building condition assessments, capital planning, free energy audits, and the energy efficiency retrofit coaching, free energy benchmarking, and the property management software. So next slide, please. The first one's about the building condition assessments and capital planning. Those two are in the same slide because they're pretty connected to each other. So the building condition assessments, they basically identify the condition of every building component. It's recommended if your building is 10 years old or older, and it's suggested to be performed every 5 years. So it's a really good service for you to know what, when, and how much will it cost to replace every building component. A differential here that we offer at BCNPHA is that we also recommend energy conservation measures during the BCAs. In 2021, we did more than 50 BCAs throughout the whole province. And the BCA is the data that is used to develop the capital plan. So the capital plan is going to help you to analyze the possibility of bundling projects or securing some incentives or anticipating some replacement due to potential funding opportunities or grants and so on. So for capital planning, we also offer a template to create your own capital planning if you don't want to do it with us. And we do also offer courses about capital planning. So right now we have capital planning 100, 101, and the 102 is under development. And finally, during the building condition assessments, we also use some non-destructive tools to better analyze the building, which are composed by the thermal camera, a light meter, a ballast checker, and a moisture checker. So a BCA is a really good first step for planning for the future, and it's data that you need to develop your capital plan. So moving forward to the next slide, please. We also do offer free energy audits. Different from the BCA and the capital planning, which are fee for service, the energy audits are for free for every nonprofit society. So it can be done on site, virtually, or through a photo guide, even though there's a star mark there because that's not our preferred method. So the energy audits outlines the cost-saving measures for lighting, HVAC, envelope, water efficiency, and appliances, and any other mechanical equipment in the building. So we're going to provide you a report that lists potential funding options that might be applicable to your building. And then we're going to provide suggestions to lower energy bills and increase the occupants' comfort. In 2021, we did more than 100 energy audits as well throughout the province. So next slide, please. After doing an energy audit, we help you throughout the whole energy retrofit process with the free energy retrofit coaching and rebates incentives service. So even though we do not have any incentive coming from BCNPHA, we'll work in conjunction with BC Hydro, Fortis BC, Fortis Electric, BC Housing, Clean BC, Columbia Basin Trust, PNG, and FCM, and some other government bodies and utility companies. So we're just trying to maximize the funding opportunities for your society to increase your building's energy efficiency and safety. So here in the province, the rebates and incentives world is kind of pretty confusing, actually. So it's kind of a maze. So we're going to help you navigate throughout the whole process. So BCNPHA will identify and help secure the incentive and rebates that best fit your building's characteristic and society needs. And we're going to guide you throughout the whole decision-making process, help you implement the projects and monitor success. So we're going to provide you technical support So we're going to review reports provided by engineering consultants, provide our feedback, and help societies better understand the recommendations provided in the reports. So we're going to help you since the beginning to the end to make sure you're going to receive the correct amount of incentives, the closeout documentation is correct. And also we do offer some online workshops they're related to energy efficiency throughout the whole year. So next slide, please. We also have the energy benchmarking service. So the energy benchmarking is the best way to compare pre and post retrofit energy performance of the building. And also it's pretty good for you to compare your building's energy performance against the sector average and within your own portfolio. So in this way, you can prioritize buildings for energy efficiency opportunities and target available capital. So you can verify that building A is performing way worse than building B and C. So you might want to go deeper and understanding why building A is performing worse. And so the energy benchmarking is gonna grab our attention, and we can schedule an energy audit to be do the first analysis on why it's performing so bad. The good thing about the energy benchmarking service that we normalize the energy consumption with the area of the building, so we can compare apples to apples, right? So a care home with a care home, but it's not only the energy consumption itself, but we compare the energy consumption per square meter and can compare the energy use intensity of both buildings. So it's a really good way to quantify the benefits of energy retrofit as well. You can see on the left side, there's an energy scorecard that what we provide to societies with large portfolio. However, if you will still have access to the same information, even if you have a small portfolio, but we're not going to provide an energy scorecard because it wouldn't make a lot of sense because it's just some small amount of buildings, but we also going to provide compare the energy consumption with similar buildings and within your own portfolio and estimate how much you can save in energy throughout the year. So next slide, please. And finally, we have made a partnership with our Corey that was launched around a year and a half ago, a little bit less. So we work in partnership with our Corey to deliver software solutions for finance, property management, household, and tenant management. So this partnership has been extremely successful. So in a little bit over more than a year, we have already 23 societies on board, which represents around 4,000 units. And a lot of societies already with our core being implemented and or initial discussions. So it's if you also need the business analysis and change management, it's also available. If you have any questions or requests for demos or codes regarding our Corey, you can contact us at our Corey PM@bcnpha.ca, or you can also access our website and have more information or just contact us. So that's basically, in a nutshell, the asset management department and what we offer. So I'm going to pass to Andres, who's going to talk a little bit about the policy and research department.
Yeah, thank you, Gabriel. Yeah, I'm going to speak a bit of what we do in the policy and research team. Most of our efforts goes to advocacy and what advocacy needs. So we do a lot of research to support our members and support other partners in the sector. One key example is our participation in the expert panel report that was published last year, just showing what the different strategies and policies should be put in place in the province to ensure better access to affordable housing across the province. We do that we try to participate in and raise the voice of our members in as many places we can. We also try to speak or respond to policy publications or government reports. For instance, we recently gave a response to the update of the government budget, the 2022 government budget, and just to explain how it will impact our sector. And we're currently working on a response for the federal government budget for 2022. Next slide, please. Again, a lot of our work also translates into resources for our members. So we try to produce reports either by ourselves or in partnership with consultants to give the tools to our members to overcome any challenges they can face. We develop a bunch of resources on COVID, providing access to updated and factual information and updates from the government in a centralized way. We have guides to remain operative, how to face challenges within coming out of COVID, and we're updating these resources as well the pandemic progresses. Another important resource that we put out is our 2018 expired operating agreements plannings guide, which is a step-by-step planning process that will help our members explore their options pre and post expiry of these agreements. It goes over the legal landscape that they're going to face. It also presents different scenarios and models of shared service in which our members can remain operative. And it goes also over different rent structures and forecasts to anticipate how the rent structure is going to change in the future once the agreement is over. We also have a comprehensive policy templates guide. It's a step-by-step, a very thorough step-by-step guide and template for you to adapt and modify to your current situation and depending on the kind of policy you want to develop. We also help support in that development. We're also happy to support you in interpreting these templates. And one of our last releases was our Path to Partnership guide, which is a guide for accessing new units in private-led developments and projects. And it goes in in detail around many scenarios and best practices to partner up with private developers and ongoing projects just to access more units. But I'm gonna copy all these resources that I just explained, as well as our page of resources in the chat, so you can go and take a look by yourself. And please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. Next slide. Next up is our asset analysis. So some of you may have been already familiar with that spreadsheet that you're seeing in front of you. That is our census, sector-wide census survey for nonprofit housing providers across the province. It goes into very detail over the different aspects of your housing projects and situation. And we do this because we need to collect this information for our advocacy and research, and it strengthens our ability to understand what's the bigger picture across the province and what are the main issues our members are facing. This also helped us develop bulk purchasing programs, as Mauricio and I was explaining earlier. And it also helps us advocate for and have actual and current information about what our current members are facing. And the good news is, once you log and you participate, you enter the draw for a really good package of prizes. So we invite you all, if you or your organization haven't shared your information or participated in this survey, we really encourage you to do so. I'm going to copy the link to the survey as well on the chat, but you can also contact Shruti at bcnpha.ca. Yeah, and this is very important for us, and hopefully for for the sector. One quick note on this is we're very mindful that this is very delicate. This might be very delicate information for our members. So the information we gathered through this survey, we're not legally allowed to share it broadly. So we only we can only share information as bulk data. So we will not share this information with any other third parties, just to give you that peace of mind. Next slide. Then we have our Canadian rental housing index, which is what I can say it's our flagship project. This is an interactive tool that we've developed and redesigned since 2016. It uses 2016 and custom census data to examine rental housing affordability and overcrowding across over 800 municipalities and regions across Canada. It's very user-friendly. You can print out information that you get from different comparison tools or snapshots that you can get. And we're also working, as the census finished and new data is being released, we're also starting to work for updating this this tool for our sector and our members. But this is work that is still ongoing as the release. This new census data is just being released right now. So we have to wait until custom data can be ordered and received. We're in the planning process of understanding what worked for this initial, or well, this first census data that we have, and how can we show this data in a better way. Did we have any flaws in interpretation, or do our members need more nuanced approach or different interpretation of the data? So we're currently in the planning process, and we're very excited that this will be a very important tool for us and our members. Next slide. Yeah, and again, as we're an umbrella organization, we need to respond to position ourselves in the sector in the different campaigns, and municipal campaigns, provincial campaigns, and federal campaigns for the different elections that we face and we're facing in the future. We do this mostly in partnership with the Cooperative Housing Federation of BC, our partners from literally across the hall. They also represent the co-op sector. And with them, we sort of join forces to have a better understanding of what the community's housing sector needs and needs to push forward in all these different electoral campaigns. This includes candidate and voter guides. We sort of we develop candidates page so that they can so candidates can make sure that housing is a central issue in their platforms. We've also created custom data, policy recommendations, and platform analysis for this election campaigns. And as we face this year's municipal elections, we've gone a step further, and we've started to collect and review something that you may be familiar with, which is the housing needs assessment reports, which were a requirement made by the province in 2019, so that all municipalities provided these reports by the end of April of this year. And these reports are a great tool in theory of a more nuanced understanding of what the gaps and needs are for affordable housing in each community. The result has been a bit patchy, but we've gone we're developing a tool to explore these tools, analyze them, see what the trends are, and get a more nuanced interpretation and understanding of how can we advocate, or what the gaps are in each municipality. We're not going to use this information as rich as it is. We're going to use it for many of our different advocacy tools beyond the electoral campaign, and this gives way to one of our other flagship projects, which is Build Homes Not Barriers, of which Jackson is going to speak to you about.
Thanks so much, Andreas. Really appreciate it. So yeah, I'll briefly touch on our Build Homes Not Barriers project, and then I'll talk just a little bit about our education programs as well. Build Homes Not Barriers is really kind of a response to what we've heard from providers across the province around the community opposition that they've seen to their projects. And this has come in a number of ways. Folks have seen opposition come from community members themselves, and also from a lot of the barriers that they face just working with municipalities. So Build Homes Not Barriers is kind of a response to that, where we've put together some resources around how to work with municipalities better, kind of how to counter very commonly held narratives that we see around opposing affordable housing in our communities. And so we've got a few tools to that effect. So on our website, which you can see there, and I'll drop in the chat just after I'm done speaking as well, so you can go and review it for yourselves. We've got some resources there that can be found, again, to talk about some of those things around countering narratives and how to work best with municipalities, and try to break down some of the barriers and the complexity of the development and redevelopment approvals process. We also do some other things around this, primarily around our public support. So often we'll write letters of support on behalf of projects to local municipalities. And we've also got a tool called just a letter generator tool that allows community members who may be supportive of certain projects to voice their support really easily. And we can personalize that letter generator based on the project that you're looking for support on. And so some projects have, specific kind of benefits or impacts that they may have on a local community. And so we'll tailor the letter generator just to those particular parts of that project. So yeah, that's most of what we do around the Build Homes Not Barriers work. So please, if there's kind of a redevelopment or development approval process that you're facing and you're looking for some support on it, just want to speak kind of generally with us about it. It doesn't have to kind of be a formal support under the banner of this project either. We just like to kind of talk about these projects and offer our input where we can. So yeah, please don't hesitate to reach out to us about that. And if you've got any questions about any of that, again, just please toss them in the chat, or we can chat after the session. I'll also briefly just talk a little bit about some of our education offerings here at the BCNPHA. We do it through a number of different events, primarily throughout COVID. We transitioned to many of them being virtual and online. So we had kind of a robust program of online learning events or webinars, as well as moved a lot of our kind of bigger in-person events online. So we did some virtual rent events, which are kind of regional education networking and trade show events that we traditionally have held around the province. But throughout COVID, we just did them virtually, and our Housing Central conference, which I believe Arwa mentioned a little bit earlier in the session, but we held that virtually the last couple of years. We are moving towards doing more in-person education this year, as we can do so, if we can do so safely, and kind of keeping an eye on just provincial health regulations and all the other important things to keep mind of while we are returning to being in person together. But we're very hopeful that we're going to be able to do things like the Housing Central Conference in person this year, and some of our rents. So I'll talk just a little bit about what the education looks like at some of those events. We break it down into 3 general categories, which target different kind of areas of work within the sector. So we have our operations category, which generally focuses on housing professionals, finance, and frontline staff, those who are actually working with tenants within our buildings, or within buildings, sorry, rather throughout the sector. We have some geared towards leaders of the nonprofit housing sector. So that can be towards executives or board members, board directors, and policymakers. Those sessions will generally focus on things more like what Build Homes Not Barriers is about, or really it's all over the place. But we talk a lot about development. We talk a lot about general principles of leadership, things like that, board skills, governance, lots of those kind of things within that category. And then we have our asset management category. So Gabriel chatted quite a bit about what our services are within the asset management department. We also have education that relates quite a bit to some of those services. And that kind of, just helps complement some of the work that they do in the asset management department. I mentioned this a little bit already in reference to the online learning events, but we also have another mechanism for online learning called Housing U. So there's both kind of self-serve courses, self-paced modules, as well as facilitated classes. Our facilitated courses, we're kind of doing a bit of a construction around them. We're kind of rebuilding a lot of them. And so those will be under construction until we hope like January of 2023. But all of our self-directed learning is still available under the Housing U kind of program. So feel free to check that out, and don't hesitate to reach out to anyone in our education department, which could be Marika Albert, myself, or Courtney Northrop. You can find all of our kind of staff access information on the website. We can throw that stuff in the chat as well, if you have any questions about any of those education programs. And yeah, we've got a series of online learning events coming up as well, this being one of them. But we kind of go across the board in terms of the topics that we cover in those events. And then, of course, we've got our big, hopefully in-person events coming up this year. And so we're heading out to Vancouver Island on May 10th. We'll be in the Lower Mainland, Northern BC, and Interior BC for our rent events. So if you haven't registered for them or checked them out, please do so. We'd love to see you all there. And then the Housing Central Conference as well in the fall. And registration will be opening for that in the fall. So I think that's about it for the education part of the session. I'm going to run just a quick poll here in a moment, and then we'll just keep it on rolling. So which of the following topics around the BCNPHA would you like to learn more about, now that you've kind of heard a lot of what we've said throughout the last few minutes of each, talking about kind of the work we do in our departments? So I'll launch that poll now and give you folks a few seconds to respond to it. So what are you still curious about? You can click multiple, I believe, as well. Folks, about 10 or 15 more seconds. All right. So it looks like there's interest across the board, which is great. I'll share the results here. Folks are definitely interested in our education, member programs, really everything. So again, please don't hesitate to reach out to us, whichever kind of area of interest that you have. There's going to be a BCNPHA staff member who's excited to kind of talk about it and share a little bit more with you. So please don't hesitate to reach out. These are some of the best spots to reach out to us. And so given whatever category you've got your interest in, please don't hesitate to send an email along. We'd be happy to chat about all that. And so that's the end of our kind of formal presentation. I'll leave that up on screen just in case anybody wants to jot it down. But I think now would be a great time that if you have any other questions that we didn't get to, or anything we didn't cover throughout the session, now would be a great time to ask. So you can do that in a few different ways. Either drop it into the chat. We'll give folks a few minutes to do that, or just pop your camera and mic on and feel free to ask us directly. We'll give folks a couple of minutes to see if there's anything coming up for them.
Maybe Jackson, this is Arwa. I'll just add in there, any of those topics, if anybody highlighted any of those topics and would like to ask questions about them now, we're happy to answer them. Anything about what specifically about our policy and research, anything specific about conference and our events, our education, our member programs, please ask now. We're happy to answer those as well. Asset management services.
And if those questions are not at the top of mind for you now, again, please don't hesitate just to reach out. I know some of this information you may want to take back to the rest of your teams and share with them too. So I guess if no further questions come in, we can let you go a little early here. But again, don't hesitate to reach out to us. And thank you so much for joining us today. And thanks to all my fellow staff members for going through all that information and sharing it with these folks here. So yeah, many thanks for coming. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you folks again in the future. All the best. Talk to you later.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.